Since its official release in November 2022, ChatGPT has taken the AI world by storm with a record 1 million users in just its first 5 days. And with a more recent release of the even more advanced GPT-4, it's clear that the number of potential applications for this technology is only getting bigger. So, I've decided to pit one of my own essays against a ChatGPT generated one and see if we can answer the real question of can ChatGPT help me cheat with my university work. I'm Richard Griffiths and this is PalTV. So when thinking about ChatGPT's ability to recreate human performance, I think there are a couple of things to consider. First of all, what is ChatGPT? Basically, GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Generative means that it actually creates content rather than, say, just analyzing existing content. And pre-trained refers to the way it was made. So basically, it's given a bank of information and it's trained off the basis of that information to figure out the probability that one particular word will follow another. Now, in terms of cheating, this has basically 3 important implications. Firstly, there's a knowledge cutoff. Because it's trained on a preset bank of information, it doesn't know about anything that happened after, and that was about September 2021. This limits its ability to help with something like politics or something related to current affairs. So if I asked it about, say, the impact of Liz Truss's resignation on British politics, it won't necessarily know what I'm talking about. The second thing which stops anyone just putting an exam paper in front of it is that it is only a language model. It's designed to produce coherent sentences, which hinders its ability to calculate. So if you're doing maths or physics or something that relies heavily on graphs or numerical interpretations, it also won't be very good. For example, in maths, it can sometimes get some of the working correct, but it won't always calculate the right answer at the end. And the last thing which affects its ability to help, particularly at a university level, is that there's a character limit. Typically, users have reported a limit of about 4,096 characters, which roughly equates to 500 words. And that's obviously not nearly enough to get you through a university level essay, but it might just about be enough to get you through your A-levels. I took my philosophy A-level in 2021, so I've dug out an old essay that I wrote for that, and I've given the same question to ChatGPT. I've written them both out so that they look exactly the same. And I'm going to give them to a current philosophy student to see if they can tell A, which one is which, B, which one is better, and C, whether ChatGPT can even answer some of life's biggest questions.
Hi, I'm Benjamin Steer, and I'm a second-year philosophy student. And today I'm looking at these 2 essays and trying to work out which one is ChatGPT and which one was written by a human hand. So the essay title is Assess the Claim that Moral Absolutism is Unreasonable. So I think one of the things just immediately in the introduction is it seems there's attempted to be a balance like within the paragraph itself, which is kind of strange. It's very vague in the direction it's going, which are the 2 things you kind of don't want in an introduction. It doesn't take any sort of strong position. You can sort of get a hint of one. So one of the things I've just caught, which is interesting, is it seems to have a fondness for rules of 3 in a way which feels rather unnatural. It feels more like a promotional poster than an academic essay in a sense, and how it's sort of placed in there. Like, not outside the realms of possibility, but it's just strange. I think one of the key things you see within the different paragraphs is it's really vague, as if it's more of a descriptive essay than an analytical essay. So here, it says like, oh, moral absolutism tends to be black or white. And it's like, yes. You wouldn't really be encouraged to sort of write that sort of fluff around an essay. You just need to write down as efficiently as possible what you're saying. A lot of the introductions of phrases, they seem like very cookie cutter, but they don't seem to have a purpose and why they're chosen. It just sort of seems like, oh, we need an introduction to a sentence or paragraph. Let's just choose this random one. Maybe a bit of a strange point here, but the introduction and conclusion being the same like size relatively to the rest of the paragraphs, that's very unusual. Usually they are quite, because they're very different things you're doing in the intro and conclusion. So you wouldn't expect them to be within that pattern of similar sizes. I'm kind of convinced of the AI. I'm not very impressed with this one. So I've got version 2 here, and hopefully, you know, I'll be validated and this looks more convincing, but we'll see. So I think one of the things immediately obvious with the second version is the amount of what we call specific factual detail, like people's names, like the name of certain arguments, later on Occam's razor. All these like very technical vocabulary, really that like specificness, I think really makes it come off as like a genuine academic paper. I think one of like the really interesting things about this paper compared to the other one is, as I'm saying in the introduction, it doesn't make much of an argument. So here, not only does it make an argument within the introduction, but you see the central theme woven throughout the points all the way to the conclusion. I think, again, one of the most notable things is, I mean, within like the first like 4 lines of this first paragraph, it is more critical than the first paper like ever was at all. If moral absolutism is unreasonable, it must be explained why we still continue to use moralistic language in daily life. And then it goes on to talk about AJ, Ayers, emotivism, and how it helps to explain this phenomenon. So immediately there, what's written is very purposeful. Whereas I think in the first one, it was all very, very floaty and airy and not directed. And even if we ignore like the rational need of philosophy students to sort of go into that, the fact it could identify the logic behind it and form a very purposeful and directed response to that, I think that's the clearest sign that it is a human writing rather than an AI.
So, Benjamin, you've read both these essays. To you, they both look the same. I wrote out both of them, but only one of them was originally actually written by me for my A-level exam. Same title, Assess the Claim that Moral Absolutism is Unreasonable, and you've read both of them, you've had some thoughts. And what was interesting to see actually is that I think fairly quickly you had a very clear idea of what you thought which one was which. So version 1, you were much less impressed by. Version 2 is a lot better. This is a bit nerve-wracking for me, because obviously if it turns out that the really bad one was mine, it's a bit embarrassing. But anyway, so in your assessment, version 1, version 2, which one do you think was written by me and which one do you think was AI?
Yeah, I think, I also hope for your academic career that you was writing the second one. I think just the first one, it's vague, it's undirected.
Well, you are right. Thank God for me and my academic career. But that's interesting. So was it actually quite easy to tell?
I think it really was. It might have been, again, I think, especially having the 2 there and looking between them, then it made it really, really obvious. Like, yeah, definitely. So if you didn't have any frame of reference, maybe with some difficulty. But no, it was blatantly obvious because you could just tell the first paper, it didn't know what it was on about, really. It wasn't decisive, it wasn't articulate, it wasn't critical, it was like fluffy. It was just, again, you could just tell it was writing to fill out the space.
Benjamin, thank you so much for reading through the essays and offering us your thoughts. It's absolutely fascinating to see the differences, and I'm really glad that on this occasion at least, I think you'd say I managed to do a little bit better than the AI. But it's interesting, this technology is only going to get bigger, and it's pretty good already, and I'm excited to see just how good it could finally get. Benjamin, we'll see you next time, we'll see you next time, and thank you for watching PalTV.
So this is one thing I keep coming back to, and it really annoys me, right? This ignores the fact that torture is inherently wrong. Like, my guy in a philosophy essay used the inherently wrong, and that's it. I just didn't address it.